This is to get to Free Press, and welcome to Broxton city limits in Georgia, just 6 miles north of Douglas. I have an individual here that I'm going to introduce you to in front of City Hall. I was called here, and I have a story to tell on our form of government and your right to know. Once again, we report what others ignore because it is in the best of our republic. Peace. Greetings. I'm now standing in front of Broxton City Hall, and I have with me the president of the local branch of the NAACP. And what's your name?
Hal Presley Sr.
And Hal Presley, you called me over here because you talked about something that's been going on for a long time. I want you to lay out a short synopsis of what you see going on here and what you hope to address and resolve on behalf of the citizens here in Broxton, Georgia.
Okay. On behalf of the citizens of Broxton, Georgia, I'd like to bring to their attention again that in 2004, Broxton was required by the state of Georgia to do an audit every year.
Go ahead.
In 2004, I brought an open records request down here to get a copy of the last 2 or 3 audits that were done by the city of Broxton. The clerk at that time was Tracy Lott Reynolds, or rather Tracy Reynolds Lott. I heard her to sign and date that document. And a few days later I came and got some more information from her. The information that I got from her alleged that the year 2000 year audit was going to be ready for me to pick up in the next few weeks. Matter of fact, she alleged some other things on there too. None of it was true. In 2010, Tracy Reynolds Lott and her father both were indicted. It seems that $700,000 had been embezzled from the city of Broxton. The audits that were done since 2004 showed that. In my hand, I have some copies of the originals. I have copies of the originals, and the case is still being continued. They have yet to come to trial. I'd like to share all of this information with you. I'm going to give them to Mr. Rhines and let him take a picture of each one and show on a video. And it also has something to say about the district attorney's office in Tulsa County. How some cases are dragged along and others are brought forward rather quickly. This case is more important and substantial than other cases. Yet other smaller cases are brought to the forefront. And people, if they don't get time, they sure try hard to give it. That's all I have to say for now, but stay tuned.
Okay, hold on 1 minute. Now, short form, what did you request under the open records?
Okay, on July 26, 2004, I came down here at City Hall in Broxton, and I requested this information on this paper. Okay. And as you noticed, it was also signed and dated by our clerk at the time, Tracy Reynolds Lott. This is a copy of the original.
Okay. But what kind of information was it?
It says, as per your request, okay. It basically says, pursuant to Georgia Open Records Law 50-18-70, I am requesting the dates of the last 3 audits for the city of Broxton. Also, I would like to schedule a time and date when I can come and review the audits to determine exactly what pages I need copies of, since I have to pay for the copies. I would like to be sure I have the exact copies that I need. I can be reached at 912-359-3877 if further information is needed. I signed it, and she also signed it and dated it. Even put the time.
Okay, now you will agree that my question to you is that audits are very important because it deals with the money of the taxpayers. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. A few days later, I got a letter from Tracy. It says, as per your request, the last city audit was finished on November 30th, 2000. You can schedule a time next week to come and review what we have available. I will contact you as soon as we have the next year complete. It will be in the next few weeks. So she said in the next few weeks, the next year will be complete. Now, we know now that that wasn't true. Matter of fact, everything she alleged in here, not true. It's not true. Matter of fact, it took an audit after they got out of office. 10 years of audits was done. And that's when we discovered that $700,000 had been embezzled by the city clerk. She was named specifically. But there was another person who alleged that they were the chief financial officer of the city of Broxton. That was her father, Bobby. Both of these people were indicted December 2010. They have yet to be tried in court for $700,000 embezzlement. But if you've been paying attention to the news across the state of Georgia, you got some black elected officials who've been indicted, convicted, and some of them sent to jail for $80 or less. And you would think that in an office like that, you would have a discretionary fund where you can deal with petty things. That's my argument.
Okay, so what do you hope to accomplish in the near future with all of this?
I hope that with all of this, as the Constitution claims that we have, that we'll get equal protection under the law. That's what I hope.
As the president of the local NAACP, my question to you is a simple one. Have you ever called a press conference with the major or mainstream news media to inform the general public about what you have just said here? If not, why not?
No, I didn't. I didn't. But I tell you what I did do. I called the district attorney's office in Waycross, Georgia. I cited the case numbers, and I told them on a recorder, voicemail, what I had, and I thought it was important to the case. I tried to leave a message with the secretary, but she told me no, I couldn't leave a message with her. I had to leave it on that voicemail. That phone number I got from Assistant District Attorney Sansot at the Law Enforcement Center in Douglas, Georgia. He was there with Mr. John Rumpka, who's also an Assistant District Attorney. I called the District Attorney's office that same day. They have yet to contact me about the information I alluded to. It's as though they're not interested in this one.
Okay, so you are saying that the judicial system in Coffee County have not addressed it?
They have not.
Did you send this information at any point to outside agencies of Coffee County for assistance?
No.
Okay. Does the state president of the NAACP have copies, or are they aware of this?
Yeah, they have copies. I sent copies to them.
Okay.
And I stand corrected. There were 3 people who sometimes after this initial request sent information to the then governor of Georgia, sent information to the then governor of Georgia, the then Attorney General of Georgia, who's the only black one I know of, Mr. Baker, and the Secretary of State's office, alluding to the fact that the information that they've been given by the clerk and the mayor to show them the financial condition of the city of Broxton, they couldn't tell heads or tails from it. They wrote a letter back saying that they couldn't help them.
So, do you feel that there is a breakdown in the Georgia judicial system in some counties when it comes down to getting justice and enforcing the laws that are in place?
I can't help but believe that. That's exactly right.
Now, this is a little different, Mr. Presley, but do you feel in any way that this embezzlement of approximately $700,000, as you allege, has any connection with the case of Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson case? And can you tie in any manner to any of the officials that are involved in that case?
The only thing I can say is that if the district attorney's office was interested in justice, it seemed like they would at least set up an appointment to at least look at what I had. And then I would feel better about it, that they made a determination from that. But they haven't. They haven't. They just haven't. I guess they're not interested in it.
Okay, and so you say you're gonna furnish me copies so we can actually pursue this further. My belief is with what I do is to try and give you some exposure, because you are not in 19th city that I'm working with, and it seemed as if though for some reason much of the news in the poor black and white right communities are not being distributed to the general public. And on our form of government, we do believe that the citizens have a right to know, after all, both black and whites, Asians, and etc., put their lives on the line to preserve our rights. And if we don't see that these rights are enforced, we very well could contribute to the downfall of our republic. And as a retired military veteran, I do what I do because I believe in justice for all people, that's regardless of race, color, creed, or nationality. And I don't say it just to sound good. I say it because I believe in that.
So do I.
Thank you very much. Any closing remarks you want to give?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a copy of all of this. All of it.
All right. Thank you very much. And here again, you state the branch of the NAACP that you're with. I said it, but I want you to state what organization you are affiliated with.
I'm currently the president of the Coffee County branch of the NAACP.
Thank you very much. What's on your mind today?
I'm a bit hot. It's a very beautiful afternoon. Hope it will be cooler later on. But I'm looking forward to have a nice afternoon.
All right, all
With
right.
wife. And I hope she will have other smiles at the end of the day.
All right, all right. And what's your name?
My name, Mr. Lou.
Continue your local news. A Wilkinson County grand jury decided to dismiss the criminal charges filed against Gordon Mayor Marianne Whipple-Lou. The mayor was accused of making false statements to the Gordon Police Department. It's in regards to a case involving Catherine Wells, a resident who was accused of hitting a man after a city council meeting. The grand jury also dismissed Wells' case.
These few people that's downing her and everything has an agenda. And people don't know what this agenda is, but I would like to tell them. They've been stealing from this town for so long that they don't want people to know what's been going on. But the simple fact is, this lady came into office and she asked them for a forensic audit. This is where everything came down on her at, because she asked for a forensic audit so people will know that she don't have anything to hide when she come in office. She wanted the book open so she'll know where the money is and what's being done, this and that. When you get that type of thing and ask, if you're a criminal, you're gonna try your best to stop it no matter what. And that's what's happening. That's right. And I'm gonna tell you the main one, and I don't mind calling name, but I'll keep from calling name though. The city of God know who is prosecuting our mayor. They know who behind it. That's it. And that's my statement.
I'd like to hear from my mother, George.
Would you like to say? You like to say anything?
Well, I can't say this. She's my daughter. And as a mother, and how many mothers could stand up and, like I said, and just see how the people are ridiculing her? No, I don't like it. I don't like it, not damn bit.
That you will be up to this year. God, we come against every evil spirit that's been assigned to us.
These few people that's downing her and everything has an agenda. And people don't know what this agenda is, but I would like to tell them. They've been stealing from this town for so long that they don't want people to know what's been going on. But the simple fact is, this lady came into office and she asked them for a forensic audit. This is where everything came down on her at, because she asked for a forensic audit so people will know that she don't have anything to hide when she come in office. She wanted the book open so she'll know where the money is and what's being done, this and that. When you get that type of thing and ask, if you're a criminal, you're gonna try your best to stop it no matter what. And that's what's happening. That's right. And I'm gonna tell you the main one, and I don't mind calling name, but I'll keep from calling name though. The city of God know who is prosecuting our mayor. They know who behind it. That's it. And that's my statement.
Now I want to talk about a little town called Lumpkin, Georgia. I've never been to that little city before, but a white person in positions of power called me anonymously. I didn't know who he was, but he called me and said, I have been watching your videos and how you have been covering the problems here in the state of Georgia. I would like for you to come to Lumpkin. There's a story that needs to be told about a sitting female white city council person by the name of Debbie Stone called the mayor, Charles Gibson, a nigger. Listen what a sitting city council member said about a mayor here in the state of Georgia, not in 1919, not in 1929, not in 1969, but in 2014.
This council person, this is not her first time referring to as black people as niggers.
Wait. Now you talking Miss Councilman Stone.
Councilman Stone. This council person, this is not her first time referring to as black people as niggers.
Wait. Now you talking Miss Councilman Stone.
Councilman Stone. I would like to tell America to take off the blinders. I would like to tell Governor Deal and any of the people up there that we elected they need to take the blinders off and come and see what's going on in their communities. Enough is enough, and that's it. We're not taking it anymore.
Said this to a newly hired fire chief. I was told, I got it recorded, I didn't say it. I'm only repeating what I documented for all the world to see. And that fire chief was a white Caucasian person who didn't like the flavor of that councilwoman's nature. So he called the police, and a report was done. And the news media reported it to the general public. Eric Holder should have heard about it. The Secretary of State and Georgia Attorney General should be aware of it. I interviewed people in the community, and it's posted on this YouTube channel for all the world to see. Not in Afghanistan, not in Pakistan, nor Tajikistan, but right here where we stand in the state of Georgia. Greeting. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and of course, I'm George Boston Rhymes, and I'm in Lumpkins, Georgia. Lumpkin is another one of those cities out of the 13 to 14 cities and counties wherein black elected officials are under fire. They are under fire to the degree that they are really in trouble. They are trying to remove them from office. They are bringing them up on all kind of charges. They are also, in some of these areas, like the Equipment 10+2 in Brooks County, the voting of black people in Georgia voters are being intimidated. They are suppressing the black vote. In like Hampton County, Georgia, and Sparta, the city, they called me over a year and a half ago, but 3 months ago, I interviewed them, and you can see them on this channel. But today I'm in Lumpkin, and what's your name?
Naya Williams.
Naya Williams. Actually, speak up a little louder, but Naya Williams, you are here tonight, and of course, they just went into executive session. I thought they were going to have a meeting. So you later told me that possibly that this is relating somewhat to your situation. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. It's very possible.
Okay, and what do you do here in the city of Lumpkin?
I'm here in the city of Lumpkin. I am the city administrator for Lumpkin.
Okay. The things that you can share with the people of the state of Georgia, the nation, and the world, I'm asking you to state what you see as a problem and has been a problem here in Lumpkin concerning the mayor, your position, and maybe the news media or the police department, and try to keep names out of it right now in terms of personnel. But make your point, and if you want to call their name, you have a right to do so as far as I'm concerned. Okay, go ahead.
We're here in the city of Lumpkin, Georgia. I've been an employee here since March 31st. I found myself 2 weeks after I've been an employee here, being locked up and going to jail for seeming as though it's dealing with a lot of racism. That really is the initiative, as everyone knows, and I'm very aware of over 13 or 14 counties here in the state of Georgia. I mean, we're dealing with these same issues, so it's nothing new, but it needs to be drawn attention to and people made aware of.
I also picked up, when I was coming through town here, coming through Macon, I picked up a copy of a paper called the Telegraph. Yeah, the Telegraph. It's out of Macon, I think. And then I came down here and I read, it says, here's what it says. Now, this is not the Wilkinson County Post. Let me specify. This is not the Wilkinson County Post. But it says, ex-officer said he wasn't promoted because he's black. Now, that's an accusation. That's not a fact. He just very well could be lying, like perhaps others may be lying here in Wilkinson County about the forensic audit that the mayor asked for nearly 14 months ago and have been blocked at every point and avenue. But we go down a little further. It says, former Gordon cop settles about race. Well, it looked like he settled it. I wonder how much he settled it for. Well, I just wanted to give you a little small preview of this. Don't that make you sick? Don't that make you sick that in 2015 we got discrimination going on and the city pays out $70,000? There got to be some discrimination somewhere. On June the 19th, while traveling through Gordon. I picked up a copy of this Wilkinson County Post. I always get it when I come through town here, and I don't mind paying $1 for it, although I know it's biased. It is one-sided. Judy Bailey once said to me, I talk about this paper and condemn it, but that was opinion and not facts. Well, today I want to share this with you. This Wilkinson County Post with editor Judy Bailey and executive editor DeVos Porter, who is also the chairman of the Democratic Party. If you look at this paper, Wilkinson County citizens, you will believe that you have the news.
And all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, the truth came out about Gordon. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
The Wilkinson County Post, May the 7th. A picture of Mayor Whippaloo on the front page. As Mayor testified before a grand jury along with others, and I was there when this incident occurred. You can go to my video and you can see a little bit of it. This is concerning Keith Grenade. Said he was struck by a elderly lady on a walker. Well, I said it once and I'll say it again. There are attempts to remove this mayor, Marianne Whippaloo, by any means necessary. While the state of Georgia, GMA, the Governor Nathan Deal, the Department of Justice, civil rights organizations, even local churches in Gordon refuse to stand up for what is right in God's world and what has been proven over and over again. That there is an apparent conspiracy to remove newly elected black mayors in the state of Georgia. When you read the Wilkinson County Post, you know it's biased. You know it's biased. Lester Maddox nor Governor Wallace have received as many publications and posts in any newspaper as Marianne Whippaloo on the percentage-wise. She does not have an attorney to represent her. And perhaps the late finance chair, Terry Reese, said it best. I do not trust Attorney Boone, who is the city attorney that was put back in office by the Honorable Judge Robert S. Reese. Robert S. Reeves. Yes. And some people are even asking now about the friendship of this man. And why would you point your finger at your client at a public meeting in the state of Georgia? Is this what the Georgia Bar approve? Is this what the Georgia Bar approve for a attorney to publicly point his finger and say many other derogatory things against a sitting mayor? Regardless of what the mayor may do, they all should be professionals. But my question is, if you don't know, and if you haven't seen who this mayor associate with during and following the meetings, just look at the videos and you will see his friends, you will see his supporters, and you will see those who are against an elected mayor that was elected by the majority of voters in Gordon. And ask yourself, how many times, how much effort have you seen this attorney right here speak and try to have a forensic audit done to account for the money and how the money has been spent over the last 30 to 40 years in that city. According to what has been said, there has never been a forensic audit. And so, like many other cities in Georgia, people money are not being accounted for, and they do not want transparency. They do not want a check and balance, and they do not want a paper trail, even on who gets contracts, as we saw in Quitman, Georgia, just a few weeks ago. Well, somebody got to report the truth, because it seemed like our newspapers, our television station and radios only give us the best news that money can buy, support, advertise, and control. Pick up your cameras, as many of you have already done. Pick up your iPhone, smartphone, and do what you can no longer depend on the free press to do. Once again, how many people are now in jails and prisons because we don't have a newspaper to tell the story about black people here in the United States of America? How many black journalists do you know in top echelons of the newspapers in Georgia? How many journalists do you know? And when you get them behind closed doors, ask the question, can they print their story, or will they print what others told them to print? I know, because they talk to me. They tell me behind closed doors who the good people are and who the hush-me-uppers are. The truth must be told, or this nation will be destroyed from within. It's just that simple. The Ghetto Free Press saying to all civil rights leaders, where are you, and why aren't you in Gordon, Georgia? Why aren't you in Quitman, Georgia? Why aren't you in Meigs, Georgia? Why aren't you in Davisboro, Georgia, Dawson, Georgia, Lumpkin, Georgia, and many other cities and towns here in Georgia where black mayors are being removed from office? You talk about voting rights. You civil rights leaders are not showing us that you care about voting rights. For if you care about voting rights, but not care about keeping a person in office after people voted right and got the right person in office, and you sit there and say and do nothing. Isn't that something? People lie. Lie, lie, lie. Talking about they care about voting rights. If you vote for someone and then they mistreat them and remove them out of office, arrest their family, intimidate people that they won't even come back out to vote again, and you watch the United States Justice Department sit down after we provide them with facts and living testimony of people who are fed up and so intimidated they say they will never go back to the polls again to vote, and the Justice Department of the United States sit back and say nothing? Say nothing. Say nothing. Say nothing. Somebody got to speak up who love this nation. When you sit down and refuse to speak out, you are an enemy to this nation. I repeat, black or white, Jew, Gentile, Protestant, Catholic, German, Japanese, Latino, does not matter. If you don't stand up and tell America the truth about herself, you will contribute to the destruction of our beloved nation. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press. We report what others ignore. I served this nation for 21 years, and I love this nation. I love it, and I trusted in this nation. But many blacks have given up hope now. Many blacks do not believe the white man in this country will ever, ever, ever treat them with justice, and that the judicial system is just what it says, is just against us. But in the end, if America does not change her ways, she will end up down the path of ancient Rome. You can believe it or let it alone. The Ghetto Free Press, speaking truth to power, because we love you just that much.
And all this stuff. truth came out about God, there's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey, you doing fine? But it's evil.
In one of your articles, you wrote about the councilwoman cost the city $340, which is not true. But you never retracted. A good journalist is going to retract it. In fact, they saved the city $340. The meeting was supposed to be on a Wednesday. So by them not going on a Tuesday, the city would save $340.
Question. We've got $150,000 that have not been accounted for in this budget. We mentioned that to you at the hearing the other night. We've got to clear that matter up. That money was withdrawn from the One Georgia Fund, and it is not in this budget, and it's not part of our budget. We cannot go any further until we clear that item up. You know, before we adopt anything, we need to make sure that money is accounted for. You know, we didn't vote to move it, and it's not in the budget, see? So you tell me what we need to do.
Well, I would say, you know, concerning that 150, if it has been moved within the accounts but has not been expent, then it wouldn't be in the budget. And so if it's moved from one account to another, that's not an issue of that budget. If it has been spent, then that's something that would need to be taken into consideration with that budget.
It hasn't been spent.
Yeah, but the money had been moved since October the 1st when our year started. The money was moved and put in the general fund in the bank. It has not been accounted for in any of our budget. We hadn't voted on it, and so that money is there. It's going to be an accounting nightmare if we don't do something with it, you know.
Okay.
It's a revenue source, but it has not been approved and has not been voted on.
It really is not a revenue source. It's really just a cash transfer between bank accounts. So it really, if it's just a transfer between bank accounts, it does not need to be accounted for in your current budget. So you're just transferring money from one account into another account. So that would not play into your current year's budget. It's just money that's sitting there that can be used, but it was still not. It is not a 2015 revenue source for you.
So what do you do with that money?
Well, it's just a transfer between two cash bank accounts. Yes, I mean, it's all within the same fund, so you're really just transferring from one account to another account.
But it's not it hadn't been voted on.
Well, that's an entirely separate issue as to what happened with the $150,000, whether it was authorized or whatever, but in terms of the budget, that would not come into play when you're just talking about a cash transfer.
Try to explain that better to me. I mean, you've got to have all of your money accounted for and voted on as appropriation by this council. Okay?
But that is money that was already in the account
in the reserve account.
Right. So you're just taking this, no different than if any other bank account you have. If you take money out of there, put it into your operating account to pay your bills. It's no different.
But it's not listed. It has to be in a budget before that money can be used or moved.
Well, again, I think that's a totally separate issue from what we're talking about here.
How? Explain to me.
Because the cash is already in your Georgia 21 account.
It's there.
It was taken out and put into another general fund account. So you're just moving cash to cash. There's nothing else that's happened.
But you can't move money that hadn't been approved by this council.
Well, that's a different issue than the budget itself. That is still not a revenue source of money that the money was already there. It's not new money coming in.
But it was in the One Georgia Fund account, and it has not been voted to be moved.
Well, but that's a separate issue from the budget.
So how's it going to be accounted for in budgeting?
It wouldn't be.
Would be or wouldn't be?
It would not be.
If it was spent at some point, at that point, it would become a reflection on the budget because that would be an expenditure. But if you're moving it from one count to another, it wouldn't be reflected on.
Yes, until that money is spent, it's really, at that point, you're just taking money, using money out of reserves as opposed to having a balanced budget.
But you can't move money unless it's budgeted and approved by the council. It's always been that way, Mr. Matt.
Well, but until that money is spent, and then that would be when you would have to do an amendment to amend your budget for those additional expenses that are going to be used. That $150,000 is going to be used for.
Any further discussion? Council?
Right now, in your budget, that $150,000 is not being used.
So it can't be used. Not in this budget.
Right.
Right.
If it were to be used, you'd have to do an amendment to that budget right there to use that $150,000 that is currently, or was in reserves, now is in your operating account.
Okay, so you answered part of the question, but not all of it, about the legality of the money being moved.
Again, that's a totally separate issue, and that's not in my realm of capacity and knowledge.
I understand, but I'm stating it to you that it was not legally moved by this council, okay?
Any further discussion? No further discussion? Do I recommend that, I'd like to recommend that we take a, pardon? Yeah, to accept the, what are you saying? I couldn't hear. We had already approved that adoption of the, no, I'm talking.
Right, this resolution would just would be memorializing that.
Right, that's what we're doing.
Right, so we'd have something on paper.
Right. So can I get a motion that we accept the resolution? I offer a motion that we accept the resolution by the budget. Second. Motion has been made and second. Roll call. Council, Dansley? Thank you. Motion carries. The budget resolution has been confirmed. Thank you, Mr. Cummings.
Very welcome.
And Mr. Matt.
And all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
He's the finance chair. You need to look at that.
Let me ask you a question, please. As far as the payroll goes, yeah, there are days I don't understand that I don't have the best days. When I'm not having a good day, I don't even dress up. I stay around the house. The chief did bring those payroll checks out there. I got no problem signing payroll checks. I said, only thing is, if you bring them out here and I sign them, bring me a check off list. Don't just bring me a bunch of checks and say sign these. I want to check the list to see who's getting what. A lot of times people come down and sign a check, and the problem we've been having for years is not accountability. Is that so many of us are asked to sign a check by the clerk, and when you sign the check, everything is blocked the way you're supposed to sign it. Now we don't do that. But the initial check, you did not tell the amount. You just see where you put your name.
The invoice right there with the check, but getting what? A lot of times people come down and sign a check, and the problem we've been having for years is not accountability, is that so many of us are asked to sign a check by the clerk, and when you sign the check, everything is blocked the way you're supposed to sign it. And we don't do that. But the initial check, you did not tell the amount. You just see where you put your name. I won't go into that.
These are finance chair, you need to look at that.
Let me ask you a question, please. As far as the payroll going to be, yeah, there are days when I can't tell you that I don't have the best day. When I'm not having a good day, I don't even dress up. I stay around the house. The chief did bring those payroll checks out there. I got no problem signing payroll checks. I said, only thing is, if you bring my head outside, bring me a check off list. Don't just bring me a bunch of checks and say sign these. I want to check the list to see who's getting what. A lot of times people come down and sign a check, and the problem we've been having for years is not accountability, is that so many of us are asked to sign a check by the clerk, and when you sign the check, everything is blocked the way you're supposed to sign it. And we don't do that. But the initial check, you did not tell the amount. You just see where you put your name. I won't go into that.
And all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
Tonight, I've heard y'all talk about who's on the bank accounts. I've got no problem with it being a person on the city council. I do have a problem with someone being able to write checks who also has all the administrative and accounting input as you have here with your short staff of people. For anybody to be able to do debits and credits to the system and all the funds and move things around like that and still be the one that can cut checks and sign them, that's a red flag in the world of auditing and looking at internal controls. You'd like to have somebody doing the accounting and then someone else writing the check and someone else signing the check. But we don't necessarily have that here. The movement of funds that I heard earlier tonight, movement of funds is not required by a resolution with Georgia Fund 1. None of my clients go through a resolution to do that. The resolution is how you spend the monies ultimately. All governments, cities, counties, water authorities, whatever it might be, most of them in Georgia have a Georgia Fund 1 account. For anybody to be able to do debits and credits to the system and all the funds and move things around like that and still be the one that can cut checks and sign them, that's a red flag in the world of auditing and looking at internal controls. You'd like to have somebody doing the accounting and then someone else writing the check and someone else signing the check.
We have on the agenda A, adopt Georgia Fund 1 resolution. This is open for discussion.
Madam Mayor, may I add a question? I feel, my contention that it's really useless to keep that fund there in the Georgia 1. There's only $5,300 in that fund now, so if there's a legal signature on that fund right now, we need to just transfer that, to our general fund and just close that fund out and be through with it,
Just see, my problem with this is that state's office, with all that's going on, when I call that Secretary of State's office, there have been money transferred out of that fund, huge humps of money. And I was instructed by that Secretary of Treasury that the only person authorized to offer the transfer was me. And I let her know straight up, I have not authorized any transfer except one. When Mr. Warner wrote for $10,000 a deal and I wrote that note, that's the only one that I authorized. And she said, if we close this account, we will not have a ledger or a paper trail once this account is closed. They is $5,000 in that account. That account is growing interest very little. But until we get some things resolved and find out what's going on with the money situation, as far as I'm concerned with the audit going on, this is not a good time to close any account.
Gotta expand on that a little bit.
What do you mean?
What is the audit plan on that?
You see that I will not sit here and talk about that all the time. We know the officer has been locked out and coming in here. But I'll pass this on to you. I talked to Bill this evening. Bill instructed me, and I quote him. What he said to me today was, I need to get in 2 weeks. I need 2 weeks to come down to City Hall to finish up this audit. Because there are some very suspicious and disturbing transactions that have taken place. Now, without revealing what was going on, that's what he said, quote, and that's what I'm telling you. And you all got calls now, you can call me yourself. But right now, it's not a good time to be closing any account. Not with my name on it. When I had, if I close this account, which I was told I was the only one can do it, I have a problem with closing something that I had authorized to be open in the first place. My name was on there, but I had no dealing with this account. And there have been money because I looked at the ledger. There have been money claimed. And for me to close it right now is not a good idea because the paper trail is not good. Until the auditor can look at it or somebody look at this and we get to the bottom of what's going on, the account will not be closed if I have to close it.
I've never pulled up that he hadn't done anything before now.
He's been working up there, Bessie, too, and he's been requesting information. What we need to do is allow him to come to City Hall, work with him, and allow him to complete the audit. The problem we're having is everybody's supposed to sign where's the money. That's a good question. The audit is very much needed when the attorney for the concerned citizen states to the county that we are on the verge of bankruptcy. Now, if we're on the verge of bankruptcy, we need to know what's going on with the money. Now, he made that statement, and he ended in the courtroom by saying, yes, we're on the verge of bankruptcy because the mayor and certain of her council members have been living frivolously or whatever, or just spending the city money. So if we're on the verge of bankruptcy, we need a report. And as concerned citizen states on the post, where's the money? I want to know too. So let's let the audit do this thing. We have a choice. If we want to disengage Bill, that's fine. But we need to engage somebody to come here to complete this audit. We've got too far in the process to stop right now.
I know we all signed and volunteered to be on the law people committee. And I thought if we just more or less over that committee, you know, keep aware of what is going on.
They can't hear you.
Well, I ain't got a microphone, so I try to talk loud so everybody can hear me. But my interest in this is I didn't realize that one council person could make a decision on any of those things that we got each one of us look at. I didn't know. I thought council had to make a meeting, have a meeting and talk about and vote on anything like that. I didn't know one person had that authority to close or open an account and that. I might be wrong, I am.
And you know, I didn't know that either. I didn't know that either, but when I talked to the woman in the office, she told me that. She said, Mr. Reed, be it known that you are the only individual that's on this account that can authorize transferring money and closing this account. And I said, let me tell you something, ma'am, I had authorized nobody to transfer not one dime. And I will admit, the note that I wrote her to pay the auditor so we could get this thing going, that's the only one I said. I asked in the meeting, could we get $10,000 out of reserve and pay the auditor? And Mr. Wallace said to me, you need to write me a note for that. And I did. It was not threatened. It's been in the paper. And so we need to get to the bottom. And I was not issuing my name to close an account. I want to know what's going on with the account. I'm the one standing there saying, they saying I had authorization. I didn't know that either. But once I learned that, then I said, hey, we're going to get a handle on this. Because whatever went on, I want to know myself because I'm involved with it. And I ain't authorized nobody to to move any money. And we're not talking about $5,000 or $10,000 either.
Before the end of last year, how many other people were on that signature besides you? I understand that the previous, could I ask Mr. Brown who was on it before?
Sure, well, here it is right here, the original.
Could I see it, please, ma'am?
Well, here's all the things.
Y'all give me just one second. With one second on it.
Me, the man, before they do our thought.
Okay. Before the first of the year.
Nope. She sent that copy. I was throwing that on March, sometime in March of 2015. It was changed. Some of the accounts were changed or something.
It was changed, it came directly out of the general fund account instead of being deposited straight to the general fund savings where it originally set up. Instead of having to make an extra transfer each time, we had to put it for it to go directly to the general fund checking account to save itself.
But when you say we, who are you? Who are we?
The mayor Turner, you and me signed it.
No, we signed it, but I didn't know what y'all were doing as far as the transfer. Now, I'm not going to say that. Like, I did not know y'all were transferring.
You read it, I mean, you that read it, signed it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says, but let me tell you something.
That's all.
My name is there. But I have not authorized nobody to transfer no money.
We don't have to if one of the other ones do it.
But we feel it, I feel it was the ones that transferred it, let them flow. I didn't authorize nobody to transfer, so I'm not authorizing nobody to flow.
That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. Good. But the record shows that you, Mayor Turner, and Ms. Brown were all on that, and any money that was moved before the end of the year, back to the last 8 to 10 years, when the council voted to move all that money, then they
We voted as a council as a whole.
We certainly did.
Okay, I got no problem with that. As a whole, the council voted. But as an individual, let me make sure it's the record reflect that I did not, as an individual, authorize one penny to be transferred to any account.
You see the problem here? You didn't see the problem. The mayor has to give permission for all the checks, all the invoices. You don't see the problem?
What I tell you, I really believe I see what's going on is that with the situation going on with money, and I'm going to be honest with you, and the statement was made that we were taking the money, she's covering her butt, so to speak. So if she's in doubt, she should inquire as to the funds being distributed. And I can understand that. I don't think it's so much that she's trying to figure out where every nickel dollar's going, but if she's unsure, then she's doing the right step to ask for it. But some questions we make an ask and tell them without bringing them before council is what I'm trying to say. I totally agree 100% what Ms. Lee said. She can pay the bill. When she asked me what we're going to do about paying the bill, I said to her, Mr. One, you know what you're supposed to do. You know how to pay the bill. You don't need nobody standing on the floor with the bill. Come in and pay the bill. Now, what are you supposed to do when you get a call from Georgia Power or you get $11,000 or $12,000 so to say light bill? And I explained that one week she said we don't have the money. I said, what do you mean we don't have the money? That's when we said, well, we got to get these bills paid. Once those bills were paid, when the workshop was held, Mr. Reese told a lie. We got plenty of money. Okay. Then we come back and go to court. All of a sudden, I'm going to break a bankrupt. What's going on here? That's even more reason why we need the audit to be finished. I want to address America. I say one more thing. I want to address this back, and I'm not assumed to address the gap actually orders while we get getting it. On my personal level, I don't trust it. That's me. I'm speaking for me. Because when I get a lawsuit for this city and my name in there, and Mr. Boone said I talked to him, blah, 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 and he only presented one side, I got a side too. Now, I know what transpired with the conversation we had. I'm speaking on my side. I cannot work with people I don't trust. In 19 years, I have never called to ask any legal advice. Now we get these calls, get legal advice. Everything we say to get the information to move the city forward is thrown against us. It's open meeting violation. You shouldn't have done this. You harassed her. I have not harassed anybody. That's not my name. And I don't appreciate reading in a lawsuit, you harass somebody. Why not get my side before you do the lawsuit? You're an attorney that represents the city, not half of it. And I don't appreciate that. That's my standard, that I cannot work with people that I cannot trust.
And all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
Next item. Item D is to discuss the bank signature card.
Well, we were trying to get it in writing and signed off on where, go back correct what was done at an earlier meeting on the drug seizure fund and the pending drug seizure fund, the Gordon Library Board of Trustees funds, we couldn't change those in the first place, the council did. Because those are ruled by other authorities. So we're trying to get that into the minutes of the record. That's one thing. And the other thing is that, Mr. Smallwood and I were supposed to be removed from all the bank signature cards at the March Bank. And that has taken place.
In other words, what you're saying is that, in looking at this chart, and looking at the position that the clerk holds, you are the treasurer. So if you remove yourself,
I'm still a treasurer.
you're still the treasurer, you are the payroll clerk.
Right. I can do all that without having to sign
So
a check.
that means that you're still on the section. The duties of the clerk.
Right. I can do all those duties without signing a check. And you'd already taken me off a lot of them back in February, and I still done the clerk's duties when you take it. When you recommended to council that I be taken off back then, I've still done the clerk's duties.
Clerk, I recommend that we this is still open for discussion, and I think that we really do need to get clarity on this and table this, but I'm not clear on closing this out. And you know.
All right, well, what about these, we need to get it in the minutes that these could not be changed in the first place. We changed them, but they couldn't be changed.
All of that, all of the assigned duties that you own, the price and not come in until we get further clarity on that. I will say that we leave everything, you own the three and all of the rest of them.
What about mine?
I'm off the other ones now. The ones that taken off in February, I'm off.
We have-
Y'all already changed the signature
We
cards
have-
at the bank on those. I'm off.
We have not given them a new resolution on the minute. And so we will table that until that's clear.
It's already clear.
Tabling mine too?
Sorry.
Is that tabling my part of it? Because I still want to be removed.
You're not,
Y'all have the ones from February 17th. They've already been changed at the bank. I'm not on those.
you are the council, she's an employee.
Right, I know that. I still want to be taken
Okay,
off.
we'll accept you, but if, we'll accept you. So, we'll, and also, any further discussion, council members? This is the time for you to state your opinion, start with Council Reed.
Man, I just want to say that in the years that I've been on council, I've been to a check in the city hall. They didn't have the clerk signature. They may be in office, but the clerk signature on the check. And that's part of the clerk's duty as outlined in the city charter.
Just want to remind y'all voted to take me off on February 17th, and I am off February 20th. And I did not ask to be off those. It's for the minutes.
And also according to the new signature list that I have, you are still on every last one.
Man, we had to change them at the bank.
So we can agree.
We had to go down and redo them again. Council has to approve them first.
So along that line, council,
Before you came in and took over as mayor, you know, as far as I know, every year the city has a budget that we adopt in October. Every bill is already included in that budget. city clerk and treasurer is responsible for making sure all those bills are paid automatically. That's supposed to be her responsibility. Now, if you put something in place that you want a copy of invoice or whatever, that's your prerogative to do. But she is still responsible for doing all that. She does not have to have your approval to pay a bill. The city clerk, treasurer does not have to have your approval as the mayor, to sign, because it's a budgeted item, If there's something outside of the budget that comes up, then that brings on, different recommendation that the council has to make, because it's a budget amendment at that time. But she's supposed to pay them without anybody having to tell her to do it, or give her an invoice, or sign it, or hold a check and wait, to be approved. So we've gotten out of the, treasurer's job context by changing, what she's been doing. And she's kind of in a position where she doesn't know what to do. And that's what I'm hearing to say. And I know for sure Mr. Tanner Underwood talked with me, so he told me to call him the other day, last Friday. And I did, and I talked with him, and I know for a fact Ms. Brown is not on some of those signature cards now. So, somebody has changed them down at the bank. They have re-signed them, and she is not on. I know the splosh. That's the one we were dealing with Friday,
That's the one that changed on February 17th.
And we'll hear from Council Smallwood. You're taking the three. For sure. You have everything you need.
We have not said it won't come off on them.
I know you did, but I thought that was
The only thing I gotta say is she got to pay all the bills. I think she should be on all the accounts so she can write checks for these bills. If she has to pay all the bills, let her be on all the accounts so she won't have to go to anybody about a check. She can write it herself and pay the bills. If she's been paying them over the years, let her continue to pay them. But she don't have to be on all the accounts to do it.
Council Denson.
Well,
Councilman Denson, I'm sorry.
I feel like he should be on all of this, like one half. So she can pay all of it.
Councilman Woodward.
Well, I feel like that she should be on them, on all the bills. And I feel like, too, that if we want to be city council, we're here for the citizens. We're not here for ourselves. We are here for the citizens of Gore. And we need to be a part of the city council if we're going to stay on city council. I think everybody needs to do what they're supposed to do and put self out the way and do for the community.
And I'd just like to read section 4.13 of the city charter. Section 4.13, city clerk. The city council shall appoint a city clerk who shall not be a council member. The clerk shall serve for a term of 5 years and until a successor is appointed and qualified, provided that the clerk shall not be prohibited from succeeding himself. The city clerk shall be custodian of the official seal, maintain city council records required by this charter, and perform such other duties as may be required by the city council. The city council shall provide for the compensation of the city clerk.
That's been up to
This is the most recent that I have of the
That's been up to
charter.
We did away with the 5 years in 90 or 91, whatever we adopted the new charter.
Well, council, go ahead and I'll ask you.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I totally agree 100% what Ms. Lee said. She can pay the bill. When she asked me what we're going to do about paying the bill, I said to her, Mr. One, you know what you're supposed to do. You know how to pay the bill. You don't need nobody standing in front of the bill. Come in and pay the bill. Now, what are you supposed to do when you get a call from Georgia Power or you get a limit of $12,000 so to say light bill? And I explained that one week she said we don't have the money. I said, what do you mean you don't have the money? That's when we said, well, we got to get these bills paid. Once those bills were paid, when the workshop was held, Mr. Reese told a lie. We got plenty of money. Okay. Then we come back and go to court. All of a sudden, I'm going to bring a bankrupt. What's going on here? That's even more reason why we need the audit to be finished.
Council, I'm sorry, Attorney Boone, I asked you for an update of the city charter. This was not included in my charter.
Yes, ma'am, it was. The one I gave you on January 30th, that big thick notebook, it was all there.
I've not seen that and I've read it. Maybe there's no site, you have a copy.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that was one Mr. Ross picked up in the office and signed the receipt for it.
This is the one the senator gave that I picked up from Atlanta. The most recent, the update.
This was 2003 amendment, Mayor. It says pretty much, I think what you just read, it says, city clerk shall be the custodian of official city seal, maintain city council records required by this charge, perform such other duties as may be required by the city council. The city council shall provide for the compensation of city clerk. And it talks about the treasurer, nominated by the mayor with confirmation appointed by the council. The treasurer serves at the pleasure of the city council. 5-year rule is gone. Treasurer collects tax and license fees and other money belonging to the city. Enforce all laws related to collection of delinquent taxes, sale of foreclosed property. City treasurer shall also be responsible for the general duties of the treasurer and fiscal officer. The city council shall provide for the compensation of the city treasurer. But pretty much.
What I'd like to say, exactly. At that, I'd like to say until we get further clarity on that, recommend that we table this until we get further clarity. Thank you.
And all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
Our first order of business under the old business is going to be to authorize the completion of the forensic audit by Bill Basket, accept the engagement letter and invoices. Can I get a motion?
I offer motion that we accept these invoices and continue with this audit.
Motion has been made. Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Discussion. There's a third part in that, except engagement letter. That has to be done first. He has never been legally approved by the city attorney, his letter of audit, engagement. You can't go one without going back and do the other, so everything on there right there needs to be adjusted to accept his letter of engagement first before you can do anything else. So everything that's been done so far has been legal.
thing with Mr. Basket, was it not that we discussed that we approved to hire him? The problem we had was we didn't approve to pay him. And my assumption for that is, the reason why he had not worked is because we stopped paying him. He didn't get any pay. So what are we saying now? We just want to delete everything he's done and install him, or what are we gonna do?
Until it's legal for him to actually do any work for the city. This contract was signed by the mayor on 2/16, I think. I can't read it, it paid it out pretty bad. But it was never, this was never voted on, you know, the letter of engagement. It's never been brought before this council to be voted on.
Well, council, and to add to that, my statement to that was, have y'all ever voted on anyone's engagement letter? Because, I was told that when the attorney was retained, there was no engagement letter. There's never been an engagement letter, even with Roger White, so you might want to clarify that.
I'm not gonna talk about any of the other ones. The motion now is talking about this one particular audit from Mr. Basket, you know, so you don't get off the subject with anything else, you know. So we need to stick with just this one item right now, you know.
That is the motion has been open, so we have the engagement letter for us, so now it's up to us to go ahead and decide.
Doing this engagement letter over, my question is, Mr. Eda, are we going to let him pick up where he left off? Or are we planning on starting over saying that everything he's done to this point is not relevant? So we have to pick up once we accept this and move forward, if that is the case.
Mr. Reed, I don't have a good answer to that, you know, I don't not just answer off the top of my head without, you know, put a lot more thought in it or get some more legal advice on where we at with that.
I don't have a problem except his engagement letter based on the fact that it's retroactive, that we continue to accept what he's done and pick up and go from there. That's where I feel.
The other question I have is, this engagement letter does not have anything signed off by any attorney. Our city charter said that has to be reviewed by the city attorney. And on February the 16th of this year, Boone, Scott, and Boone were the legal attorneys, and it was never approved by them. So the question I have is how we're gonna back up now to that point, you know, and get it legalized when she's already signed it today, you know.
Well, what we,
Mr. Eda, can I clarify one more there?
I love somebody to.
After the council voted to appoint Mr. Basket to do the audit, being mindful of the charter provisions that require the contracts to be approved by the city attorney, I contacted him shortly after this council approved him being hired. Unfortunately, Mr. Basket claims that was some resistance from the city attorney. Now, the only resistance came from Mr. Basket because he violated the Open Meetings Act when I asked him specifically for his letter of engagement so that I could review it, and if it was okay, approve it. I didn't care one way or the other. All I was trying to do was follow the charter to get a copy of the letter of engagement and approve it. I finally got one after several attempts, not from him, of course, but by then it was on the agenda for several meetings, but never got action on it, and there was never anything else done. So, I didn't have any reason not to approve it, except he wouldn't give it to me. Excuse me?
When did he give it to you?
He never did.
Oh, who gave it to you?
It was produced by an open records request. I had to file an open records request to get Mr. Basket's
Council, any further discussion? If not, motion has been made, a discussion, and now we're ready to take a vote.
Roll call vote again.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the engagement letter, let me hear by a word of aye. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Terry Reese, yes.
Terry Eady abstain.
Yes.
Residential abstain.
By the time, then I'm going to abstain.
Reese voted yes, E abstains, Smallwood no, Toles yes, Whipple abstained, and Dinsley abstained. So it failed.
So if that fails, let me ask you this. Where we stand with this order? Are we just gonna say this, we're done, we're through with it, we're just moving on and just
I feel that we should go on with the audit, but I abstain because of the dates and the slacker signature that we need from the lawyer. And I think we maybe need to, take at our next meeting, go into executive section to maybe talk about this more so we can get a better feel on this and make sure we are doing everything that's legal. And so at the next meeting, I don't disapprove of the audit. I think we need it, but like I said, I think that we should just maybe take it to the next meeting so that we can all get a better feel of it. And that we'll know what we're signing, because we don't want to sign anything and it come back to hit us in the face. We want to sign it and we want to be right when we
So we just be willing to take it?
Yes.
We'll just take it to the next.
And all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
We have Mr. David Ewing with ADP. Please.
I'd like to keep this kind of short and sweet. I'm just going to hand this to everybody. Is anybody familiar with ADP up here? No. Automated data processing. We handle back office solutions for companies. Payroll, tax filing, insurance services. Y'all need a few more? What I'd rather do, if we can, is schedule an executive meeting. Is that possible?
No, sir.
No?
Again, don't do that.
Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
Thank you.
We have Auditor Malden here. Could you come down and elaborate, please, about automatic data processing?
My name's Miller Edwards, and the mayor asked me to come here to see if you all had any questions relative to the outsourcing payroll. I think outsourcing payroll makes sense in a lot of governments. It makes sense in business. Payroll takes a lot of time by people and interrupts a lot of the qualitative element of their work when they have to run payroll often and deal with all the quarterly reports and all those kind of things. It's a task. Now, I know you've got people who have been doing it for years. I'm sure they've gotten good at it. But it is one of those kind of things that when it comes to bang for buck, very much, I'd say at least 90% of them outsource their payroll. And we're talking governments that are small, like the town of Whitesburg or somebody like that, all the way to Gwinnett County. And again, a lot of businesses out there too. I mean, there are businesses out there that might only have 2 people employed, and they still use an outsourced party like an ADP. I'm not here to support ADP, but it is a very cost beneficial product or service. It also helps with controls, and I cannot help but sit here tonight, this evening, and sense, might be the word, a lack of trust, a lack of respect, and concern over controls. And I think when you've got a community that has a small office of people who, those people are doing accounting, they're doing human resources, they're doing all kind of other admin duties, they're cutting checks. When you do that, the trick is to try to find a way to have cost beneficial, good internal controls. An ADP type party, an outsourced party, does provide a certain element of controls involved in doing this. I know there's concerns about the direct depositing and giving up bank account information, all that. Lord, we had the same thing at Malden Jenkins 15 years ago. We went to direct deposit our payroll. I'd have to say I was a little suspicious. I mean, I'm about to give people information I don't even know. Well, things have changed in this world we live in, and I can tell you, as an employee of Malden Jenkins, it is incredibly convenient to not have to go grab my check, stand in line, and make a deposit. Especially if I'm out of town or running around somewhere it's not that convenient. So from that standpoint, I can see it being a good thing. But of course, there's all kind of ways to skin the cat. A lot of these outsourced parties, they don't have to use direct deposit. They can even do things like process your payroll and issue checks. Your check would say City of Gordon with maybe a little logo of like ADP or whoever the outsourced party is would be on there. They'd be the ones actually cutting the checks. By them cutting the checks, we now have another party involved in helping establish controls. And that's just something to think about, is trying to find ways that are cost beneficial enhancements of controls. And a small community, a small government, and you all are that becomes difficult to do sometimes. It's real hard. As an auditor, we can write up management points and findings all the time and talk about how you can do better with internal controls, but sometimes it's not cost beneficial. You can't all of a sudden take a community this size and say, well, we want to have your office have 7 people in it. 7 people so you can have the perfect internal control structure. But what you can do is try to engineer what you do and how you do it to do your best to promote good, sound, safekeeping, and controls. And I do think outsourcing payroll is one step in being able to do that, along with many other things. I mean, tonight I've heard y'all talk about who's on the bank accounts. I've got no problem with it being a person on the city council. I do have a problem with someone being able to write checks who also has all the administrative and accounting input as you have here with your short staff of people. For anybody to be able to do debits and credits to the system and all the funds and move things around like that and still be the one that can cut checks and sign them, that's a red flag in the world of auditing and looking at internal controls. You'd like to have somebody doing the accounting and then someone else writing the check and someone else signing the check. But we don't necessarily have that either. The movement of funds that I heard earlier tonight, movement of funds is not required by a resolution with Georgia Fund 1. None of my clients go through a resolution to do that. The resolution is how you spend the monies ultimately. All governments, cities, counties, water authorities, whatever it might be, most of them in Georgia have a Georgia Fund 1 account. It's a great place to park money for a short period of time or even a long period of time based on rates and the convenience factor of getting that money. People wire money from Georgia Fund 1 to their operating account all the time. The controls, and remember we had this discussion back in February when you were all talking about the budget. The control is how that money is ultimately spent. And that's where the budget is important. Because the budget is your legal level of control of how it's ultimately spent. Moving it from one bank account to another in the name of trying to put it in the right place so the checks can be issued. I've never had anyone have to go to city council to have moving the money from Georgia Fund 1.
We've always done it.
And that may be one of those things we've always done it that way, I respect that. But I'm just telling you, it's not required to do it that way. The best thing to do
If
is
it's not in the budget, let me explain one thing to you, reason I say that. If it's not listed in our budget, when we begin our budget in October, if we do not have any money to be transferred out of the One Georgia Fund as our money to help cover the budget, nobody can change that budget except this council, including any funds that are moved.
okay. And what I'm
That's our
trying
charter.
what I'm trying to tell you is, in the world of generally accepted accounting principles and the idea of budgets, what you all do is not customary with the way other communities do these things. And Georgia,
Past practice, we've already done it, okay?
I understand. I said I respect what you're talking about, but I'm trying to explain to you that
Well, we didn't ask for that explanation. We asked for you to just talk about this one
Well, I was talking about
thing.
the negative control.
But you know, you're going past that.
Okay. I have gone past it.
Yes.
All right.
I would
But
rather
again,
you
don't-
stick just for this one subject, please.
On this one subject, I think would enhance internal controls. If you did consider going outsource for this type of operation.
Sir, yes, sir. The only thing about that now is we can't do it in the middle of the year, see? We have a guided budget. It is nothing in our budget. We did not plan for anything such as this. The time to do this is, you know, the upcoming year.
I respect that.
That's fine, and
You can always look at things at any interim point in time and consider doing an amendment.
Certainly could.
If it's not appropriate, it's not appropriate.
Sir, yes, sir.
But I do think, getting back to your question, I'm all about internal controls. You know, as an auditor, that's what I live and breathe, is looking at internal controls. And I do think outsourcing payroll in light of the short staffing that we have in a community of this size, which I would expect to be short staffed in that state. I would think you try to do anything you can to outsource certain things to help enhance your controls.
Sir, I agree with that.
That's where I'm coming from. Who you use, not my call. I'm just here to share and shed light on the concept.
Sir. There's proper time and place for all of it, you know. Plan it at the end of the year as we go into the new year.
I respect that.
Sure.
And to add to what you're saying, it doesn't matter, as you say with ADP, they are world renowned, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe, he shared that with me, that the previous bank, and I may be talking, you know, because, you know, I guess he felt the need, but, with Mars Bank, they are now, I don't know who they're using, but they outsource theirs. The bank here in Gordon, direct
Like I said, it's a
deposit.
win-win in most cases. It helps
Exactly.
promote controls and it is cost-effective and efficient to do.
I know we can say with state government that that's the way we had. Ultimately, they educated us, they trained us, and like years ago, we were a bit apprehensive as to accepting it, but they
As was I.
assured us that if we didn't, I mean, they gave us the ultimatum that eventually you're gonna have to, or you get a card. So with this being said, as an administrative decision, this is something we want, is the control and trust and the integrity, which goes along with
I think it
this.
would be a good thing in that respect. I think most people involved would appreciate what's being attempted to happen.
Thank you so much.
And all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, the truth came out about God. There's a hidden agenda. I call it the beautiful side of evil. That's what it is. It's evil. It's beautiful. Oh, how you doing, Tommy? You doing all right? Hey. Well, you doing fine? But it's evil.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, we're putting these audits to work. We're gonna post it across the state.
Mine's good.
Yeah.
That's the first clear audit 2 or 3 years ago they've had since '93.
That's right. That's right.
Excuse me. I'm with the Ghetto Free Press. I'm out of my cards. And the reason I wanted to come in because I saw you looking out of the door, and I don't do nothing here, and everybody know me. You want to, you can check me out on the web.
I was nosy.
All right, well, you supposed to be. You supposed
Then
to be.
I heard what Hal was saying, so I mean.
Okay, so you didn't have a problem with it either. I'm sure I can tell that. Well, that's all it is. It will show up on my channel, Broxton G.B.R. on YouTube. We have nothing to hide. Everything is open. And if the district attorney want to talk, we'll get with them as well, because we believe in both sides. What's your name?
Margaret.
Thank you so much. You a clerk?
I am.
Now looking at you, see, I'm out of cars. I just ran out, but you got yours. Like, I'm looking at the car and see if I have one. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much. And you know her?
She gave me the official copies.
Okay.
She gave me official copies of all those years. There were 10-year audits done that should have been done back then.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if that was a forensic audit they did or a regular annual audit? Do you know?
They did 10 years all at one time.
Annual?
Yearly.
Okay, so you never heard of a forensic audit? Gordon, Georgia, I'm dealing 1960. Gordon has never had a forensic audit in 130 years, and that's when they go deep in the books. And what I'm finding out is that a lot of Georgia cities need help. They really need help, and they need training. And we can't blame, in my opinion, local governments. We got to blame the state, because to me, state should have a responsibility to inspect. GMA, I've gone to some of their meetings, so I just want to thank you for your cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. think so?
Yeah, I think he said right out the airport. Here
He
we are.
did?
Yep, here we are.
Hello? I'm in Valdosta right now. Yes, sir. No, when this happened? No, I didn't see that. Wow. That's right. No, I didn't see that. I probably see I get home and check Facebook. Wow. Ain't that something? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. You better wake up. Yeah, I'm back in. Yeah. Thank you for calling too, brother. All right. But good night, brother. Yeah, he said they had a shooting in San Bernardino school. 3 kids got killed. Got shot anyway.